Hi all, I had quite an interesting over-the-board game last night. I was playing for Muswell Hill Chess Club, home match. So this is in the Middlesex Chess League, Division 2. We were playing against Metropolitan Chess Club. I was playing a French player, Deflessel. I probably got the pronunciation wrong. So anyway, I was white. I kicked off with e4 and he played the Sicilian defence. Yeah, the last Sicilian defence game I've seen of a Frenchman was Maxime Bachelard-Grave destroying Anish Giri. So, okay, I thought I'd avoid the main line. I play the Morra Gambit. So C takes C3, and he plays D3, which is a response which minimises White's potential dynamic play. I take it, G6. One thing about this pawn, it does blunt the bishop, but it deprives the knight of a nice square on c3. The bishop here is behind its own pawn. I thought I'd spice things up immediately here against g6. I played h4 because I've had some just very, very good luck with h4 in two previous games in this league, which I both won. It catches people by surprise, takes them out of book. And it's probably, it's got a few dangers with it. And you can see the emergence of h4 as a surprise weapon against things like the Greenfield defence. So it's basically a hack attack move. Bishop g7, h5. Funny enough, I checked this position with an engine. It seems to think white's okay, even with what I played here, which is h6, which I know it blocks up my potential h-file. It might be better to keep the tension here. Just to play something like knight f3. Just if black ever then plays knight f6, of course there's h6 and the bishop is driven back. But here the bishop does actually have a square. Bishop e5. And I didn't want to weaken myself even further with f4. It just looks like loads of weaknesses. But it might be quite interesting. But I played knight f3. And the bishop drops back here. And we have a very unusual position here, with this bishop voluntarily blocking itself in now after d6. So he was keen to stop any e5 ideas. I was looking forward to something like knight f6, e5, knight's driven back. And this position I thought is kind of interesting. Maybe I've got bishop g5 and it looks like a sane position, but what we get, I'm just thinking, how do I get these really crazy openings? I mean, what is this? I mean, really, what is this position? But he is actually threatening bishop g4, and I thought that might be annoying with knight e5. I stopped that with bishop c4. So if he plays bishop g4, I hope you can guess what I've got here. He didn't do this. If I give you 5 seconds, what does white play here? Yeah, I just take here, and this is winning the bishop here. Yeah, I mean, that'll be... It's not going to happen. He's higher rated than me, by the way, by 1 point. He's 201 ECF, so it's pretty dangerous. Yeah, knight f6, knight g5. Now, this is interesting because I wanted, to stop bishop g4 and be able to play f3, but apparently, bishop g5 might be okay, and just allowing this position and quickly castling might be a way of playing the position. That could be okay as well, but this is interesting. But I know in a way it looks kind of childish, but on the other hand, with the pawn on h6, the knight's kind of lodged there on g5 and it's not going away that quickly. So okay, we have knight a3. I want to play knight b5 and I want to keep the f4 square covered, but perhaps I was thinking after, maybe bishop f4 just to try and stop d5. d5 might be able to take here and take here. And I don't know, maybe black's got some tricks though, like knight e5 hitting c4 though. But maybe I just drop back. I don't have to take the knight. So yeah, I thought it was this move is more for designed against d5, and this, I was surprised he didn't play d5 here. I think it is one of the better moves, but knight e5 as well is one of the better moves. I think black's fine. But okay, I mean, if we look at d5 and now this line for a moment, knight b5 might be okay for white, but it's not that inspiring, this position, to say the least. I think this is like liberates black's pieces, especially the bishop on c7. So I think, you know, it's logical. Yeah. So a6 was played instead though, and now I get a chance to play bishop f4, and then we have e5, and it starts to play quite a lot of forcing moves. b5, another one. I don't want to lose that light square bishop. I'm getting kicked back, hitting this bishop on e3. I'm getting kicked back. I was a bit concerned here, getting pushed around. I'm not sure I want to lose this start square bishop, because then he would have things like bishop b6 after. My queen's got to hold the knight. So yeah, I allowed to be pushed back here again, and again an attacking move. I defend with this position actually though with f3. I was very surprised the knight just didn't go back to f6, but I think he had a very, very specific idea in mind with this next move, knight f2. The very, very specific idea. I mean, clearly it stops me castling queenside. That's an illegal move here. The very, very specific idea, but I thought this wouldn't be such a problem, was f6. Now it would be a problem if it would be a problem if I've got some options. I don't want to spoil it for you. Okay, what would you play here? The opponent's just played f6. The knight appears to be trapped, but on the other hand, it's kind of useful also, not just for stopping the king. h3 is under scrutiny, but there's a move here which guarantees white an advantage. I saw this coming up during his time actually. I was thinking this can't be right for black. If I give you 5 seconds then to pause the video, what would you play here with white? I know it looks as though I've been pushed back in the last few moves, but you know, pieces in chess can quite quickly spring back to life sometimes with a bit of help. Okay, I hope you found this move. I think it's a really strong move, b4. The point is, the knight, while it's on the 5th, is a dangerous piece. Knights on the 5th are often quite dangerous and tactical. And here is no exception. If this knight goes back, then there's bishop b3 check, and all of a sudden this pawn's useful for stopping king g7. And all of a sudden the knight pounces into f7, winning the exchange, forking queen and king, and the knight's still trapped here. So yeah, b4. Now, knight c4 looks like an interesting try, and this was mentioned by Tom in the pub later, with d5, but apparently I checked this out properly with engines, this line, and even if there's interesting things with queen c6, but even queen d5, this position, I think white's collected a big central pawn mass. So even though the exchange down here, engines really like this. Someone's going mad with a lawnmower outside. Okay, I time these well, don't I? Oh boy, excellent. Anyway, this position is really good for the passed pawns. We've got two big passed pawns in the center. It's just really good. Say g4, rook here, and there's an even idea to shield the king with g3, just sacking a pawn, because white's pawns, and this helps block in that bishop. White's pawns are huge here, and this should be very good actually for white. Even though it's like only a pawn for the exchange, there's pressure on e5, and these pawns, they're just massive here. The bishops are really good. Engines like this anyway for white. But I mean, Alex Afonontis also, I mean, he mentioned that, you know, there might be, I should have really checked this out more, queen c6. I mean, this could be interesting as well, queen c6. But maybe strongest, I mean, hitting the rook, strongest might be just taking on d5. So anyway, in a nutshell, it seems as though b4 is working quite well. He takes, I take here, and then this awkward looking move, because what am I doing here? Am I moving the knight back? But again, there's a strong move available to rescue this knight on the rim, which is, you know, they're often dim, as they say. But there's a great move here, thankfully, which I can get my knight back in the centre. If I give you 5 seconds, what would you play in this position? So 5 seconds starting from now. Okay, I play the check. It vacates c2. So sometimes checks are very useful for the tiny little details they introduce. I've vacated c2. My knight can hop into c2. Much happier than on a3. g4, then I win my 2 pieces. Win 2 pieces for a rook, which is usually a very good idea in general. G takes, and I'm thinking, do I take here? Because he might have bishop g4. This might be this is the right way to play it, actually. Engines really like g takes. I castles, I thought that's the safe one. But there's a very good resource in this position if you're interested technically. What does white have in this position, you think? Okay, white, it has either f4, trying to open up this diagonal, but there's another variation on this theme, actually, because then we're mating on g7. This pawn's lurking around. Well, there's queen f6, I guess, but even stronger might actually be just knight d4, protecting the pawn and threatening things like knight e6, and it's just dangerous to take in this position, because yeah, queen f6. I can play fg anyway. So yeah, queen f6. It's not lethal because there's queen f6, but it's handy, that sort of resource. But no, I don't need to get involved in this. I thought just a positional sack, and if it just solves my problems. If he's going to take here, great. I've got 2 pieces for the rook. You know, I just want an easier to play position, not a more and more difficult to play position. Even though I'm material up, I don't want a more difficult to play. So yeah, give back some material, I thought, to make it easier to play. Okay, he gets the centre pawn here. Now I strike with f4. I'm trying to hit this pawn chain. Ideally, I want to open this diagonal up, because I've already got 1 bishop pointing at his king and 1 goal hanging pawn. I just need this bishop on this diagonal, ideally. Okay, so stronger apparently is queen b6. So this line is this sort of thing, bishop g5. Yeah, it looks like a very strong position. He doesn't want to relinquish the f-file exchange of rooks here. This pawn is just winning that. That's really dangerous for black. Queen b6, this lurking pawn there. But anyway, I didn't play that. That seems to be the most incisive. f4. So he plays d5. And I play queen c5. I'm thinking one point is with queen c5, if he takes here, I've got queen e7, and we're mating nearly on g7. Well, in fact, like we are. That pawn, that goal hanging pawn, is really handy. But also, I thought if he takes, I'm getting this d4 square, and I'm blasting up this diagonal, which would be very good. And recently, we checked out a Nakamura game where he sacked a pawn to get d4. It's a great pivot square. It's a fantastic square in the centre if you can get a piece on there. The other point is I might tactically be threatening sometimes if rooks get maybe even queen a7, maybe, you know, threatening mate, and maybe even, but I don't need to go on that adventure just yet. So he takes, and here I play bishop e1. Not only I want to blockade the pawn on f2, I want to get hold of d4. So there's check. Now you can't play king g8 because I'll play queen takes e4. I thought this position is really strong when I play bishop f2 here. I just thought it was really strong centralization. So he takes, I mean, if he takes here, I'm just going to take on f6. Play this lovely bishop d4. What is he going to do? Sack the exchange? It's not very pleasant. So anyway, he okay, so queen d4. Where are we? Queen d4. he took and he played king g8. I went here thinking this is just really strong. I'm on a6, I'm on d5. But now I had some doubt about taking on a6. I mean, maybe I should. And this probably is a mistake. I played bishop g7. I'm not factoring in something that his pawns might be really dangerous, actually, if I mess around too much. The bishop here, nice central piece, is by definition almost like dual purpose. Even intuitively, it's helping against black's pawns and it's pointing at black's king. So why move it away from such a beautiful central position? But I did for tactical reasons, for this pressure on d5. But he just parries that with rook d8. And I'm thinking here, surely he's got f3, f2, bishop g2, kind of starting to win, or even with the g pawn. So I start to be really concerned here, especially if I take on a6. I'm just going to be giving him loads of time to queen his pawns. This scenario is not too clever, for example, where I've just decentralized my bishop and I'm letting his pawn run. So I thought, okay, I can still in control of destiny a little bit here. I can try and in advance block this pawn. So I block the pawn, trying to set up a blockade on, say, like this, on the dark square to make sure the bishop is blocked in. That was the point of rook f1. I know it looks terribly defensive, but I'm going to have to undo some of my damage, I thought, with this bishop g7. My bishop comes back now, and it plays g5. But thankfully, there is still some pressure on his king, which this next move demonstrates. Otherwise his two passed pawns are coming at me, but it's not entirely. There is a question that can be posed for black's position here, especially with the bishop coming back to the center, the dual purpose bishop. What would you play here with white? If I give you 5 seconds to pause the video. Okay, rook e1. So I'm threatening rook takes e4, and if f3, I'm prepared to sack here, and that'll be fine. So rook e1 plays rook f7, and here I miss a tactical blow. Actually, there's a major tactical blow in this position after rook f7. Can you spot it? If I give you 5 seconds here. There is actually knight takes d5. I played bishop c5, but there's knight takes d5. And if it takes, we play this check. We can take it here. And we can pin this. And this is lethal, actually. So like this. It's just hopeless for black, this position. Because there's no time to like take here because it's a check, and then we take here and we can stop the passed pawns. But no, I missed that one. But after here, yeah, I guess you can guess now. The thing is, actually, this is a bit of a mistake. Black can almost equalize with rook takes h6, funny enough. Yeah, because on bishop takes d5, this is a really, yeah, compute the fans. Can you see what black has here? Well, actually, I think black might just take on d5 and use the pawns. If knight takes d5 rather, there's rook h1. Sorry, that was the question really. Rook h1. Bishop's actually supporting the rook, pinning the king. I know, it's amazing, but yeah, thankfully he didn't find. I mean, he only had a few minutes left here. He didn't find rook takes h6. So yeah, I could have put him away with knight takes d5 earlier. But here, the knight takes d5. Yeah, I'm going to say knight takes d5 is really strong here because I'm controlling at f8. And here, it's so strong he resigns, actually. If we look at this position, bishop takes, this is just mating. Look at that, pawn is finally really doing something. If he takes with the rook, take it here. And again, this is lethal. So yeah, knight takes d5 finishes it. But yeah, just before here, there was rook takes h6. It's just, the resourcefulness of chess cannot be underestimated. The resources in positions. Yeah. So eventually the team actually won by a margin of 7-1, gaining a promotion, I believe, in Division 1. So if you happen to be an international master, or maybe, okay, FIDE master, international master, WFM, WIM, GM, or WGM, please consider playing for us next year, because we could do with a bit of strengthening on the top few boards, because quite a few teams do have GMs and IMs level players, and literally GMs and IMs, and sometimes multiple GMs and IMs playing in the same match. Like Hendon, not mentioning names, Hendon. Yeah, if we do get into Division 1, it's I think, we could do with some extra title players. So if you happen to be in the North London area and want to play for a club, and if you play brilliant games, I'll even put them on this channel as a bonus. Yeah, so it's a very friendly chess club, Muswell Hill Chess Club. If you want to play in Division 1 next season of the Middlesex League, please let me know. But yeah, it was fun in Division 2. I always think it's fun in Division 2. We can actually win some matches. So, okay, but anyway, okay, I hope you enjoyed this one. Comments or questions on YouTube. Thanks very much.